You don't just walk up and say, hey, help me hide this body. No, you gotta be subtle. You use the foot in the door technique. You start with a ridiculously small request, something nobody in their right mind would say no to. Hey man, can you hold this shovel for a sec? Once they agree, their brain does a little backflip and thinks, well, I guess I'm the kind of helpful, shovel holding person who helps my friends. Then you escalate. Great, now can you help me dig a 6 foot hole? Their brain, desperate to avoid the icky feeling of being inconsistent, is now way more likely to agree. You've created a psychological pathway from a small favor to potential accessory to a crime, all because we're suckers for seeing ourselves as consistent, helpful people. The big ask. All right, so the opposite of that last trick is the door in the face technique, and it's a true work of art. This time you start with an absurdly huge request, something you know for a fact they will reject. You roll up to your buddy and say, hey Steve, I need to borrow $1,000, your left kidney, and I need you to pretend to be my dad at a parent-teacher conference. Steve, after processing this whirlwind of insanity, will obviously tell you to get lost. But here's the genius part. You let him reject you. Then you hit him with what you really wanted. Okay, fine. Can you at least give me a ride to the airport tomorrow? Suddenly, compared to organ harvesting and committing fraud, giving you a lift seems like the most reasonable, simple favor in human history. He feels like he's won, you look like you're compromising, and you get your ride. Get it now. Human brains are basically just greedy little goblins that haven't evolved much since we were hoarding shiny rocks in caves. The scarcity principle plays this goblin brain like a fiddle. All a marketer has to do is slap a limited edition or only 3 left tag on something, and we lose our minds. Suddenly, that Funko Pop of a background character from a show you've never seen becomes an essential purchase. This triggers a primal fear of missing out, or FOMO, which is a far more powerful motivator than just, wanting something. The thought of losing the opportunity to buy the thing is more painful than the pleasure of actually owning it. It's why concert tickets for artists you barely like seem to sell out in 10 seconds. It's why online stores have a countdown timer. They're manufacturing urgency to make you buy now and think later. You owe me. Reciprocity is the social glue that keeps society from devolving into a bunch of feral cats fighting over a chicken bone. If someone does you a favor, you feel a deep, instinctual need to pay them back. It's a lovely concept, but it's also ridiculously easy to weaponize. This is the entire business model of those people giving out free stuff in public places. They hand you a wilted flower or a mixtape that's somehow still on a CD, and congratulations. You've just been served a debt you never asked for. Now, when they ask for a small donation, saying no makes you feel like the world's biggest asshole. Companies do this with free samples. You eat that tiny cube of cheese at Costco, and suddenly you feel a strange sense of obligation to buy a wheel of it the size of a manhole cover. You've been had. Trust the gown. We are weirdly obedient to people in uniforms. It doesn't matter if it's a cop, a pilot, or a pimply teenager in a Best Buy polo shirt. The uniform projects authority, and our brains just salute and fall in line. This is the authority principle. The most chilling example is the Milgram experiment, where a guy in a lab coat convinced normal people to zap a stranger with what they thought were lethal amounts of electricity just by saying the experiment requires that you continue. It's why commercials for medical products are full of actors pretending to be doctors. They slap a white coat and some glasses on a failed soap opera star, have him point to a chart, and boom, instant credibility. We don't question it. We see the coat and assume the dude knows his stuff about hemorrhoid cream. Be my friend. This one is depressingly simple. We are way more likely to say yes to people we like. What makes us like people? Well, being ridiculously good looking helps. We have a halo effect where we assume attractive people are also smarter, funnier, and more trustworthy, which is clearly nonsense. Just look at Hollywood. We also like people who are similar to us. If a salesman notices your Led Zeppelin t-shirt and says, dude, Stairway to Heaven is my jam, he's not trying to be your friend. He's trying to build a rapport to sell you a crappy extended warranty. And finally, we're suckers for flattery. You have exceptional taste, says the art dealer, as you consider buying a painting of a soup can for 12 grand. The whole Tupperware party scheme is built on this. It's not about the plastic bowls. It's about your friend guilt-tripping you into buying them. Everyone's doing it. As much as we like to think of ourselves as unique, free-thinking individuals, we are fundamentally herd animals. When we're unsure of what to do, our default setting is to frantically look around and copy what everyone else is doing. This is social proof. It's why nightclubs make people wait in a line outside, even when the club is half empty. The line itself is the advertisement screaming, hey, this place is so popular you have to wait to get in. It's why sitcoms had laugh tracks for decades, to psychologically bully you into thinking the terrible jokes were hilarious. On the internet, this is all about reviews and testimonials. 95% of users agree. Agree on what? Who are these users? Doesn't matter. Your brain sees the big number and thinks, well, the herd has spoken. I must now purchase this banana slicer. The hobgoblin. Our brains are terrified of being inconsistent. Once we make a decision or state a belief, we will defend it to the death. Even if we have overwhelming evidence that it was a stupid decision, we'd rather be consistently wrong than admit we made a mistake. This is the commitment and consistency principle. Salespeople are masters of this. They'll get you to agree to a small thing first, like a test drive. Once you've done that, you've made a micro commitment. You've implicitly said, I'm interested in this car. Then they get you to agree on a price, any price. Once you've shaken hands, you've mentally bought the car. Now you're trapped. Every subsequent step is just you trying to remain consistent with that initial decision, even as they pile on fees and extras you never wanted. But you are free. This is one of the weirdest and most effective Jedi mind tricks in the Persuasion playbook. You make a request, and then you add a simple little phrase like, but you are free to choose, or but don't feel obligated. Logically, this should make people more likely to say no, since you're literally handing them an exit ramp. But it does the exact opposite. By explicitly telling someone they have a choice, you remove their psychological need to be defiant. You're not cornering them, so they have nothing to push back against. Agreeing to your request now feels like their own autonomous decision, which makes them feel powerful and in control. Can you help me with this report? But obviously no pressure. You've just buttered them up with the illusion of freedom, and they'll likely agree just to prove how magnanimous they are. The emotional whiplash. The fear then relief technique is a real piece of work. It's a two-step process for turning someone's brain into putty. Step 1, induce fear. Make someone think they're in deep trouble. You're driving, a cop pulls you over, lights flashing, and you're already picturing yourself in jail. Your heart is pounding, your mind is racing. Step 2, relieve the fear. The cop walks up and says, hey, just wanted to let you know your taillight is out. Have a good night. The wave of relief that washes over you is so powerful, you're suddenly incredibly suggestible. If that cop then said, by the way, would you like to donate to the policeman's ball? You'd probably give him your life savings. That sudden swing from high anxiety to profound relief short circuits critical thinking, leaving you grateful and compliant. Repetition, repetition. The mere exposure effect proves that you can make someone like almost anything if you just subject them to it enough times. Familiarity doesn't breed contempt. It breeds contentment. Think about that annoying pop song that you hated the first time you heard it. After it's been played on the radio 8,000 times, you find yourself humming it at work. Your resistance has been worn down by sheer relentless repetition. Advertisers have built empires on this principle. They don't need a clever ad. They just need a massive budget to blast the same dumb jingle or slogan into your skull over and over and over again. Head-on applied directly to the forehead. Is it a good slogan? No. Is it persuasive? After the 500th time you've heard it, you start to believe it has to be. It's persuasion via brainwashing. In too deep. The sunk cost fallacy is the little demon on your shoulder that convinces you to keep doing something stupid just because you've already invested in it. It's why you'll finish a terrible 3-hour-long movie thinking, well, I've already wasted 2 hours, might as well see how it ends. Those first 2 hours are gone, man. They're sunk? You can't get them back. The logical move is to cut your losses and go do something less miserable, like flossing. But no, your brain hates to admit defeat. It irrationally believes that investing more time or money will somehow validate the initial investment. This is why people stay in bad jobs, failing relationships, or keep pouring money into a car that spends more time in the shop than on the road. It's a cognitive trap that makes us throw good money after bad. The decoy. The decoy effect is a beautifully sneaky way to make people choose what you want them to choose, while making them feel like they're being smart and savvy. Here's how it works. You offer 2 choices, say a small coffee for $2 and a large for $5. The choice is tricky, but then you introduce a third option, a medium coffee for $4.50. Suddenly the large for $5 looks like an absolute steal. You get so much more for just 50 cents more than the medium. Nobody buys the medium. It's the decoy. Its only purpose in life is to be a terrible deal to make the large coffee look like a brilliant one. You walk away feeling like you gamed the system, but you were just herded into the more expensive option by a strategically placed, unappealing decoy. Just the facts. On the flip side of the emotional coin, you have logos, the appeal to logic. This is the attempt to persuade by using cold, hard facts, numbers, and what appears to be a rational argument. The key words here are appears to be. The data doesn't have to be sound. It just has to be presented with confidence. Slap a bar graph on it, use a lot of big words, and cite a study from the Institute of Vaguely Scientific Sounding Things, and you're golden. Our new face cream contains a patented hexapeptide 5 complex, proven in clinical trials to reduce wrinkles by 47%. What's a hexapeptide? Who cares? It sounds sciencey. This technique makes the target feel intelligent, as if they're making an informed choice, not just falling for marketing buzzwords. They're not being emotional, they're being logical. An honest face. Ethos is all about reputation and character. It's the art of convincing people you're a credible, trustworthy source before you even start your argument. Politicians are obsessed with this. They craft elaborate backstories about their humble beginnings and roll up their sleeves to look like a man of the people, because they know we're more likely to trust someone we feel is decent and relatable. Expertise is another huge part of ethos. When a mechanic tells you your car's flux capacitor is shot, you believe him, because he's standing in a garage covered in grease and projecting an aura of "I know about this stuff." Of course, ethos can be a complete illusion. The most successful con artists are masters of projecting an image of unimpeachable character right before they make off with all your money. The lowball. If the foot in the door technique is a sly trick, the lowball is its scummy, felonious older brother. It's a classic bait and switch that relies on getting a commitment first and then making the deal worse. A car salesman, for example, will offer you an incredible too good to be true price on a new car. You get excited. You agree? You shake on it. In your mind, you already own that car. You've made the commitment. Then the salesman comes back with a sad face. "Oh, I'm so sorry, my manager won't approve that price. With the required fees and taxes, the actual price is $4,000 more." A rational person would storm out. But you've already committed. Backing out now feels like a personal failure. So, with a deep sigh of resignation, you agree to the much shoddier deal. You've been lowballed,